Before you decide to scroll away, before you tell yourself, I'll watch this later, let me ask you something very personal. Have you noticed that your heart doesn't attach the way it used to? Not just to people, but to life itself. Things that once excited you now feel quiet. People you once cared deeply about no longer shake your heart the same way. And sometimes late at night, you sit with this strange feeling and think, why do I feel like this? And why can't I explain it to anyone? Most people watching this right now are silently asking the same question. And here's the truth. Most reminders never tell you this phase you're in is not common. It only comes after deep emotional pain, after years of caring too much, after loving, trusting and hoping until the heart became tired. That's why I want you to listen carefully. Because if you misunderstand this moment, you will make the exact mistake that keeps people stuck for years. They panic. They think something is wrong with them. So they rush back to old attachments, old habits, old people, old ways of coping, and they undo what Allah was quietly fixing. But if you understand what Allah is doing right now, this phase will become the turning point of your entire life. By the end of this message, you will understand why Allah makes the heart detach, why this happens after pain, not before, why forcing emotions back is dangerous, and why the calm you feel is not emptiness, it is preparation. And here's something very important. If this message was not meant for you, you would have clicked away already. The fact that you're still listening means Allah wants you to understand this phase before you damage yourself emotionally. So please, I don't listen to this casually. Listen as if Allah is explaining what you've been feeling but could never put into words. Stay with me until the end, because the last part of this message will explain what happens next after the heart reaches this stage. And most people never reach that part because they give up too early. Stay. Your heart will recognize the truth before your mind does. Allah is teaching your heart where it truly belongs. My dear brother, my dear sister, there comes a very quiet moment in life when Allah gently reaches for your heart. Not with force, not with fear, not with pain that shocks you awake, but with calm. So calm that at first you don't even notice it. You just feel different. You notice that your heart does not rush the way it used to. It does not cling the way it once did. It does not beg, chase or panic the same way anymore. And you sit there sometimes in silence, sometimes in confusion, thinking, what has changed inside me? Let me tell you something gently. Nothing has gone wrong. For a long time, your heart was living everywhere except where it was meant to live. It was tied to people's moods. It was attached to how others treated you. It rose when someone stayed. It fell when someone pulled away. Your peace depended on messages, on responses, on outcomes. Your happiness depended on plans working out exactly the way you imagined. And you carried all of this quietly. You smiled. You functioned. You kept going. But inside, your heart was tired. Tired of hoping. Tired of fearing loss. Tired of trying to control what was never in your hands. Allah saw that tired heart. He saw how much you cared. He saw how deeply you loved. He saw how much weight you were carrying without complaining. And because Allah is gentle, He did not break your heart to teach you. He softened your grip instead. Slowly, He began to loosen the attachment. Not all at once. Not in a way that would scare you. Just enough for your heart to breathe. That is why one day you realize that certain things no longer shake you the same way. Certain people no longer have the same power over your emotions. Certain outcomes no longer define your worth. And instead of chaos, you felt something else. Quiet. At first, that quiet felt strange. You wondered if you had become cold. If you had lost your ability to love deeply. If something precious inside you had disappeared, but listen carefully, what left your heart was not love. What left your heart was exhaustion. Your heart was never meant to belong to everything and everyone. It was never designed to carry the weight of the world. It was designed to belong first to Allah. When the heart forgets where it belongs, it suffers. When the heart remembers Allah again, it rests. This loosening you feel is Allah gently guiding your heart back to its true home. Not away from life, not away from people, but away from emotional slavery. Because there is a difference between caring and being owned. Before, your heart was owned by outcomes, owned by expectations, owned by people's behavior. Now Allah is teaching your heart freedom. Freedom does not mean you stop loving. It means love no longer controls you. Freedom does not mean you stop caring. It means caring no longer destroys you. Allah is teaching your heart that it can love without drowning, hope without desperation, and trust without panic. This stage feels unfamiliar because it is new. You are used to intensity. You are used to emotional highs and lows. You are used to attachment feeling like proof of love. But Allah is showing you something deeper. He is showing you that peace does not come from holding tighter. It comes from holding Allah closer. When your heart begins to return to Allah, you start needing less from people. Not because people are unimportant, but because your heart is finally being fed from the right source. And when Allah becomes the source, the heart no longer starves. So if you feel less attached now, less desperate, less afraid of losing, do not be alarmed. This is not emptiness. This is healing. This is Allah gently saying, let me carry you now. And when Allah carries your heart, you stop needing to carry the world alone. Your heart is not fading. It is finally resting. As this quiet change continues inside you, you may notice something else. You no longer feel the urge to explain yourself to everyone. You no longer feel the need to prove your worth. You no longer feel restless when things don't go your way. Before, your heart would rush ahead of you. It would imagine futures. It would replay conversations. It would hold on to what if and if only. And that constant movement inside your chest made you tired in ways you couldn't explain. Now Allah is slowing your heart down, not to stop your life, not to make you empty, but to protect you. Because some hearts break not from one big pain, but from years of small emotional pressure. Pressure to be enough, pressure to be understood, pressure to be chosen, pressure to be appreciated. Allah saw that pressure building inside you, so He gently removed the weight by teaching your heart where it truly belongs. When your heart belongs to Allah, it stops begging creation for what only the Creator can give. It stops asking people to fill spaces they were never meant to fill. It stops expecting stability from things that change. And slowly, quietly, your heart learns trust. Not loud trust, not dramatic trust, but calm trust. You begin to realize that even when people disappoint you, your heart does not collapse anymore. Even when plans fall apart, you do not feel destroyed inside. Even when you are alone, you do not feel abandoned the same way. This does not mean you don't feel pain. It means pain no longer owns you. Allah is teaching your heart how to stand without leaning too hard on anything else. And that lesson is gentle but powerful. You may also notice that you crave less noise now, less drama, less emotional chaos. You find comfort in silence, in reflection, in moments where you can just breathe. That is not loneliness. That is your heart finally hearing itself again. And more importantly, hearing Allah. When the world becomes quieter in your heart, Allah's presence becomes clearer. This is why sometimes Allah takes things away slowly. So slowly that you don't even realize when attachment disappears. If He removed everything at once, your heart would panic. So He removes it gently. So your heart learns peace instead of fear. My dear one, this stage may feel strange because it does not feel intense. There is no emotional rush, no dramatic attachment, no constant longing, just steadiness. And steadiness can feel unfamiliar. When you've lived your life on emotional highs and lows, but this steadiness is a gift. It means your heart is no longer living in survival mode. It means Allah is telling your heart, you are safe now. Safe to feel without breaking. Safe to love without losing yourself. Safe to hope without anxiety. And the most beautiful part is this: Allah is not taking love away from you. He is purifying it. Before, love came with fear. Fear of loss. Fear of rejection. Fear of not being enough. Now, love is keener, cleaner, healthier. You love without attachment owning you. You care without sacrificing your peace. You give without emptying yourself. This is not distance from life. This is depth. Allah is raising your heart from emotional dependence to spiritual independence, from chasing to trusting, from holding tightly to placing everything gently in Allah's hands. So if you sit sometimes and feel this calm inside you, this emotional stillness, do not rush to fill it. Do not assume something is missing. This is Allah teaching your heart how to rest. And when the heart rests with Allah, it becomes strong in ways the world cannot shake. You are not losing your heart. You are finally finding where it belongs. And that is one of Allah's greatest gifts. Detachment is not coldness, it is Allah's mercy. Sometimes you look at yourself and think, I am not the same anymore. You notice that your emotions don't rise as quickly. Your reactions are softer. Your heart no longer jumps into situations the way it once did. And deep inside, a quiet worry appears. Have I become cold? Have I lost my softness? Why don't I feel the same anymore? Let me tell you something very important. You have not become cold. You have become protected. There is a big difference. Coldness comes from bitterness. Coldness comes from hatred. Coldness comes from shutting the heart completely. What you are experiencing is not that. What you are experiencing is Allah placing mercy around your heart. For a long time, your heart was exposed. Every word reached it. Every reaction affected it. Every disappointment cut it. You felt deeply. You cared deeply. And because of that, you were hurt deeply. Allah saw how sensitive your heart was. He saw how quickly you forgave, how easily you trusted, how much you gave without keeping anything for yourself. And people did not always treat that heart gently. So Allah stepped in, not to harden your heart, but to shield it. This is why your emotions now feel calmer. This is why you don't react immediately. This is why you don't feel pulled into every emotional storm. Allah is teaching your heart how to stay safe. Because not every battle deserves your tears. Not every situation deserves your emotional energy. Not every person deserves access to your heart. Before, your heart was open to everything. Now, Allah is teaching it wisdom. You still feel, you still care, but you no longer bleed for everything. That is not coldness, that is mercy. Some people think strong faith means feeling everything deeply all the time. But sometimes strong faith means knowing when to step back. Allah does not want you emotionally exhausted. He does not want you constantly hurt. He does not want you living in pain disguised as love. So He gives you calm. And calm can feel strange when you are used to intensity. You might miss the emotional rush. You might miss the strong attachment. You might miss feeling everything so deeply. But what you don't miss is the pain that came with it. The sleepless nights, the overthinking, the heaviness in your chest. Allah removed that slowly. And He did it in a way that did not break you. That is mercy. You see, when Allah protects the heart, He does not close it. He covers it. Just like a wound that needs time to heal, the heart also needs quiet to recover. So Allah reduces the noise. It lowers emotional intensity. He distances you from what drains you. He teaches you to observe instead of react. And this new calm inside you is not emptiness, it is safety. You may notice now that when something goes wrong, you still feel sadness, but it doesn't destroy you. When someone disappoints you, you feel it, but you don't lose yourself. When plans fail, you pause, but you don't collapse. That is Allah holding your heart steady before emotions controlled you. Now Allah is teaching your heart control, not control through force, but control through trust. Trust that Allah sees, trust that Allah knows, trust that Allah will take care of what you release. And this is why your heart feels quieter, not because it has less love, but because it has less fear. Fear of losing, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. Allah is gently removing those fears. So if someone tells you, you've changed, smile softly, because yes, you have. You have changed from someone constantly hurting into someone Allah is protecting. And that protection is a gift many people don't recognize until their heart is completely broken. Allah protected yours early. As Allah continues to protect your heart, you may notice something else. You no longer feel the need to react immediately. You pause, you breathe, you allow things to pass before they enter your heart. Before, everything went straight inside. Every comment, every silence, every change in tone. Your heart used to ask, what did I do wrong? Why are they distant? Why does this feel different? And those questions stole your peace. Now, Allah is teaching your heart patience, not the kind that feels forced, but the kind that feels calm. You are learning that not everything needs a response. Not every silence needs interpretation. Not every behavior needs explanation. This is not carelessness. This is clarity. Allah is showing your heart that it does not need to chase understanding from everyone, because some people do not know themselves, yet you were trying to understand them deeply. Some people were confused, yet your heart was blaming itself. Allah saw that confusion hurting you, so He protected you with distance inside the heart. You still see people, you still interact, but they no longer sit so deeply inside you, and that is mercy. Because when people sit too deeply in the heart, they control your emotions without knowing it. They become the reason you smile or cry, the reason you feel at peace or anxious. Allah does not want your heart owned like that. Your heart belongs to Him, so He gently pulled it back. You may also notice now that when something ends, you accept it faster than before. Not because it didn't matter, but because you trust Allah more. Before, endings felt like failure, like loss, like something went wrong. Now endings feel clearer. You say, Allah knows. Allah chose this. There must be goodness here. This does not mean it doesn't hurt. It means the hurt does not rule you. Allah is teaching your heart surrender. Not surrender out of weakness, but surrender out of faith. Faith that what leaves was never meant to stay forever. Faith that what stays is part of your journey. Faith that Allah does not take without wisdom. And this faith brings calm. That calm you feel is not emptiness. It is trust growing inside you. You are learning that you don't need to guard your heart with walls. Allah guards it better than you ever could. So you stop forcing closeness. You stop chasing clarity from people who cannot give it. You stop explaining yourself to those who misunderstand you. And suddenly, life feels lighter. Not perfect, not easy, but lighter. Because your heart is no longer fighting battles it was never meant to fight. Allah is teaching your heart to rest while He handles the rest. And when the heart rests, it heals slowly, quietly, without noise. This stage may feel lonely at times, not because you are alone, but because you are no longer emotionally crowded. There is space now. And in that space, Allah places peace. Peace that does not depend on people behaving well. Peace that does not disappear when plans change. Peace that stays even when answers are delayed. This is a rare gift. Many people live their whole lives emotionally exposed, reacting to everything, hurting from everything. Allah spared you that. He wrapped your heart gently before it broke completely. So if your heart feels calmer now, less attached, less reactive, do not fight it. Do not force old feelings back. Allah knows what He is doing with your heart. And when Allah protects something, it is because it is precious to Him. Your heart is precious. That is why Allah covered it with mercy. Your heart was carrying burdens Allah never gave you. Sometimes the heart feels heavy and you don't even know why. Nothing dramatic happened today. No big argument. No mayor loss. Yet inside there is a weight.